Let's talk about a feeling, a really specific, uncomfortable, and confusing feeling. It's the feeling you get when you've done everything right. You got the degree. You landed the good job. You're in a stable relationship. You have a nice apartment, maybe the car. You post a picture of your brunch on Instagram, and it gets 100 likes. Your parents are proud. Your friends are envious. On paper, your life is a checklist where every single box is ticked. Your life looks perfect. So why do you feel so empty? Why do you feel like you're a fraud, just acting out a part? Why do you find yourself scrolling aimlessly at 11 p.m., feeling a dull, aching void that no amount of success, shopping, or swiping seems to fill? Why do you feel bored, irritable, and restless, like you're waiting for your real life to finally begin? If this sounds familiar, you're not broken, you're not ungrateful, and you're definitely not alone. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, one of the founding fathers of modern psychology, built his entire life's work around this exact paradox. He saw this emptiness not as a failure of your life, but as a desperate summons from your soul. He believed this feeling of emptiness is a sign. It's a message from the deepest, most authentic part of yourself, a part you've been ignoring, that is finally screaming loud enough for you to hear. This isn't you. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into the mind of Carl Jung to understand exactly why your perfect life can feel so hollow. We will explore 3 of his most powerful concepts: the persona, the shadow, and the lifelong journey he called individuation. By the end of this video, you won't just understand your emptiness. You'll see it as the most important invitation you'll ever receive. An invitation to stop performing your life and finally start living it. To understand the emptiness, we first have to understand the perfect life we've built. In Jungian psychology, this public-facing, successful, got-it-all-together version of you has a name: the persona. The word persona comes from a Latin word for the mask worn by actors in ancient Greek theater. It was the character they played on stage. And that's exactly what your persona is. It's your social mask. It's your job title. Your curated Instagram feed. The polite, agreeable way you talk to your boss. The good son or dutiful daughter role you play at family dinners. It's the collection of traits, behaviors, and beliefs that you've assembled to navigate the world successfully and be accepted by society. Now, Jung is very clear. Having a persona isn't bad. It's not just fake. It's a necessary tool for survival. You need a persona to function. You can't show up to a job interview with the same raw, unfiltered energy you have at 3 a.m. with your best friend. Your persona is an adaptive interface. It protects you. It helps you relate to others. It's how you get things done. The problem, Jung warned, isn't having a persona. The problem is when you identify with it. The problem is when the mask fuses to your face. It's when you forget you're playing a character. It's when you believe, deep down, that you're the job title. You're the number of followers. You're the flawless, smiling person in the photographs. This is what Jung called persona identification. And in our modern world, it's an epidemic. Think about it. We live in the ultimate persona-building machine. Social media isn't just a platform. It's a persona factory. We are given the tools to crop, filter, and curate our lives into a highlight reel. We're not sharing our reality. We're performing our ideal version of reality. And we are rewarded for it with likes, shares, and comments. A constant stream of external validation that reinforces the mask. We see the personas of others and believe they are real, which sends us scrambling to make our own persona even more polished, more perfect. Hustle culture glorifies the work persona. It tells you that your value is your productivity. Your identity is your ambition. You are the entrepreneur, the grinder, the girl boss. We're encouraged to sacrifice sleep, hobbies, and relationship for the sake of the grind, all to perfectly embody this persona of success. Consumerism tells us we can buy a persona. Don't feel authentic? Buy this watch. Feel insecure? This car will make you confident. This skincare routine will make you that girl. We assemble an identity from brands and products, hoping that if we just acquire the right things, we will finally feel whole. And so we spend years, decades, even polishing this mask. We build a beautiful, gilded cage for ourselves. We get the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect home. We achieve everything the persona was designed to achieve. And then we stand in the middle of it all and feel nothing. We feel empty. We feel like a fraud. Because the real you, the part of you that isn't your job title or your Instagram feed, has been locked away. It's been starved, neglected, and ignored. Your persona is receiving all the validation, all the success, all the applause. But the applause is for the mask, not for you. And the you that's trapped underneath, it knows. It knows this is all a performance. This emptiness isn't a void. It's the supplicated, muffled sound of your authentic self, banging on the inside of the cage, begging to be let out. This is the first, crucial insight from Jung. Your emptiness is a direct consequence of your success. The more you over-identify with your perfect external life, the persona, the more disconnected you become from your messy, complex, and authentic internal life, the self. So what is this internal life? What is this real you that's been locked away? To answer that, we have to go to a much darker, much scarier, and much more interesting place. We have to go into the basement of your mind. We have to talk about the shadow. If the persona is everything you want to be and everything you pretend to be, then the shadow is everything you don't want to be and everything you pretend you are not. The shadow is one of Jung's most famous and profound concepts. It is the dark side of your personality. It's the locked basement of your psyche, where you've thrown every part of yourself that you've deemed unacceptable, weak, shameful, or bad. Think back to when you were a child. Maybe you were loud and boisterous, but you were told to be quiet and act proper. So, you locked away your wildness. That's in the shadow. Maybe you were sensitive and cried easily, but you were told to toughen up and stop being a baby. So, you locked away your vulnerability. That's in the shadow. Maybe you felt anger, jealousy, or rage, perfectly normal human emotions, but you were taught that good kids aren't angry or jealous. So you locked those away too. Your persona, your good, successful, perfect self, is built on a foundation of rejection. To be this, you had to decide not to be that. The shadow is the that. It's your repressed anger, your laziness, your insecurities, your sadness, your selfish desires, your weird creative impulses, your vulnerability, your grief. And here is the most important part. The more perfect and light your persona is, the darker and heavier your shadow becomes. If your persona is the selfless one, your shadow is full of your own unmet needs and selfish desires. If your persona is the hyper-rational intellectual, your shadow is full of messy, chaotic, and irrational emotions. If your persona is the tough, invulnerable high achiever, your shadow is overflowing with vulnerability, fear of failure, and a deep longing for rest. Your perfect life is a bright, manicured garden, but you've created that garden by throwing all the weeds, the rocks, and the ugly parts of the soil over a fence into a dark, overgrown lot. And now, that dark lot is starting to reclaim your garden. This is the second great union insight. The emptiness you feel is the shadow demanding your attention. It's the sound of your own repressed humanity knocking from the basement. So, how does the shadow show up? It doesn't just tap you on but vital things. It holds your vitality, your creativity, your authenticity, your juice. When you lock all that away, you cut yourself off from your own life force. You become a two-dimensional character. You feel hollow, bored, and joyless because the part of you that feels joy, passion, and meaning is in the shadow. 2. It manifests as projections. This is a huge one. Do you ever have an irrationally strong, negative reaction to someone? That person at work you just can't stand because they're so lazy? Or that influencer who seems so arrogant and attention-seeking? Jung would say, you are projecting your shadow, the things that infuriate you in others, are often the very things you have repressed in yourself. You can't stand at a lazy coworker because you've repressed your own deep need for rest, and their laziness reminds you of the part of yourself you're not allowed to be. You're enraged by the attention-seeking influencer because you've repressed your own desire to be seen and celebrated. Your shadow hits the screen of another person. It's a defense mechanism. I'm not lazy, they are. I'm not arrogant, they are. 3. It manifests as self-sabotage. Why do you procrastinate on a big project? Why do you start a fight with your partner just when things are going well? Why do you binge watch TV instead of going to the gym? This is often the shadow rebelling. Your conscious mind, your persona, says, I must be productive. I must be perfect. But your shadow, full of your repressed desire for rest and your fear of failure, hijacks the system. It slams on the brakes. It's your psyche's way of forcing a balance, often in the most destructive way possible. For it manifests as leaks. This can be a Freudian slip, a sudden, uncharacteristic outburst of anger, a cynical comment that slips out, or a secret habit, like compulsive shopping, gambling, or doom scrolling, that feels completely at odds with your perfect public self. That is the shadow, finding a crack in the persona and leaking out. So this feeling of emptiness, this irritability, this sense of being a fraud, this compulsive judgment of others, it's not you going crazy. It's your psyche trying to heal itself. It's your shadow holding all the lost pieces of you, knocking on the door. It's saying, you can't live a half life. You can't just be the light. You are whole, and you have to come down here and get me. The great lie of our culture is that you can get rid of your dark side, that you can positive vibe your way to happiness. Jung called this a dangerous and neurotic idea. You cannot destroy your shadow. You can only integrate it. In this process of turning around, facing the mask you've built, and having the courage to descend into the basement to reclaim the parts of you you've hidden. This is the most important journey of a human life. This is the journey that cures the emptiness. Jung called it individuation. So we have these two warring parts. The persona, the perfect mask you show the world, and the shadow, the repressed, unacceptable parts you hide. The tension between them is what's tearing you apart. It's what's causing the emptiness. You feel like a fraud because you're divided. You're living an inauthentic, fractured life. The solution isn't to build a better persona, and it's definitely not to get rid of your shadow. The solution is to become whole. This, for Jung, is the entire goal of human life. He called it individuation. Individuation is the lifelong process of becoming an individual, a whole, undivided, unique, and authentic human being. It is the journey of divesting yourself of the false wrappings of the persona on the one hand, and courageously integrating the dark contents of the shadow on the other. It is the path from what does the world want me to be to who am I? The emptiness you feel, that perfect life paradox. Jung would say that is the call to individualize. Your soul is tired of the performance. Your psyche is demanding wholeness. The emptiness is a symptom of a stalled individuation process. You become stuck, over-identified with the mask, and your true self is signaling that it's time to grow. This is why success feels so empty. You've been climbing a ladder only to realize it's been leaning against the wrong wall. You've achieved the goals of the persona, but you have completely neglected the goals of the self. The goals of the persona are external: wealth, status, likes, promotions, and approval. The goals of the self are internal: meaning, purpose, authenticity, wholeness, and connection. You have a psychic diet that is 100% external validation and 0% internal meaning, and you are now suffering from spiritual malnutrition. The emptiness is the hunger pang. This is also why this feeling so often strikes in our late 20s and 30s, the so-called quarter-life crisis, or in our 40s and 50s, the classic midlife crisis. Jung had a beautiful metaphor for this. He called the first half of life the morning of life. In the morning of life, your task is supposed to be external. It's about building your ego and your persona. You have to learn the rules of society, get an education, build a career, find a partner. You are separating from your parents and establishing your place in the world. This is a necessary and healthy phase. But then you reach the afternoon of life. And for many of us in the 21st century, this afternoon is starting a lot earlier. In the afternoon of life, you've done all that. You've built the external scaffolding, and your psyche, right on schedule, begins to turn inward. It starts asking different questions. The questions of the morning are, what can I get? How can I succeed? What do they think of me? The questions of the afternoon are, who am I? What does this all mean? What is the purpose of my life, beyond just achieving things? What have I been ignoring? This is the crisis. The crisis happens when you try to live the afternoon of life by the rules of the morning. You feel the emptiness, and you think, oh, I must not be successful enough. So you double down. You chase a bigger promotion, a fancier car, a more perfect-looking relationship. You try to solve an internal, spiritual problem with an external, material solution. And the emptiness just gets worse. You cannot solve this problem by adding more to your persona. You can only solve it by turning 180 degrees and facing your inner world. This is the journey of individuation. It is the great second half of life, and it's the real work. So how do you do it? How do you actually start this journey? This is not a 5-step hack or a 30-day challenge. This is shadow work. It's deep, it's slow, and it's the most rewarding work you will ever do. But it starts with a few concrete steps. Okay, this all sounds very grand and abstract. Integrate the shadow. Find a self. What does that actually mean on a Tuesday night when you're feeling that familiar all awake? Here are 4 practical ways to begin the work of individuation and start filling that void with genuine, authentic meaning. Step 1. Become an investigator of your persona. You can't let go of a mask you don't know you're wearing. The first step is to simply observe it. Get a journal and start asking yourself questions. No judgment, just curiosity. When do I feel the most fake? Is it in work meetings? With a specific family member? When I'm on social media? When I'm most afraid of people thinking about me? That I'm a failure? That I'm stupid? That I'm not a good person? This is a direct clue to what your persona is built to hide. Whose perfect life am I trying to live? Is it my parents'? Is it society's? Is it the one I think I should want? What did I used to love doing as a kid that I've stopped because it wasn't productive or mature? This is a breadcrumb trail back to your authentic self. Just by asking these questions, you create a tiny, vital sliver of space between you and the mask. You are starting to disidentify from the persona. Step 2. Hunt for your projections. Remember, the shadow shows itself most clearly in what infuriates or obsesses you about other people. This is the golden rule of shadow work. That which is not conscious in ourselves, we experience in others. So, play a game. For the next week, every time you feel a strong emotional reaction to someone, either intense irritation or even intense, obsessive admiration, idolatry, stop and ask, what exact trait in this person is triggering me? Are they lazy, loud, weak, arrogant, stupid, fake? Now, be radically honest with yourself. Is there any part of me deep down that is also this? Or is this trait the exact opposite of what I force myself to be? Am I triggered by their laziness because I never let myself rest? Am I triggered by their loudness because I always force myself to be quiet? This isn't about condoning bad behavior in others. It's about recognizing that the hook is in you. When you find the hook, you take back your power. You see that your enemy was actually a messenger, showing you a dissowing piece of yourself. This is how you start to reclaim the shadow. Step 3. Listen to the unlived life. The emptiness you feel is, as Jungian analyst James Hollis says, the unlived life you're carrying around. It's all the parts of you that the persona has rejected. Your psyche is trying to communicate with you all the time about what's missing. Its 2 primary languages are dreams and active imagination. Dreams. Jung called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. When you sleep, your persona sleeps. Your shadow and your true self get to come out and talk. Keep a dream journal by your bed. The moment you wake up, write down anything you remember. Images, feelings, characters. You don't have to be an expert to analyze them. Just look for patterns. Are you always being chased? What are you running from in your waking life? Are you always in a house you don't recognize? A new part of your psyche. The images are symbols from your deep mind, trying to tell you something. Active imagination. This was Jung's primary technique. It's like a waking dream. You sit down, quiet your mind, and focus on that empty feeling. Give it a shape, a color, a character. Then talk to it. Ask it, what do you want? Why are you here? What I need to know. This sounds strange, I know, but you're not making it up. You're giving a voice to the unconscious, repressed parts of your psyche. You're opening a dialogue between your persona, your ego, and your shadow. This is the very definition of integration. You are quite literally making yourself whole again. Step 4. Choose meaning over approval. This is the hardest part. As you start to do this work, you will discover things about yourself that your persona hates. You might discover that your perfect, high-paying job is an offense to your soul. You might discover that your stable, perfect relationship is built on a shared persona with no real, authentic connection. You might discover that you don't want to be a high achiever at all. You just want to paint or garden or rest. To heal the emptiness is to make the terrifying, courageous choice to be more authentic, even if it means being less perfect. It's choosing to have the difficult, vulnerable conversation with your partner. It's choosing to say no to the promotion so you can have time for your hobby. It's choosing to post the imperfect photo because it's real. It's choosing to disappoint others rather than continue to abandon yourself. Every time you make a small choice in favor of your authentic self over the demands of your persona, you are filling that void. You are bringing a piece of your shadow out of the basement and into the light. You are living your individuation. The emptiness doesn't vanish overnight, but it is replaced moment by moment, choice by choice with something new, something solid. It is replaced with meaning. If you've made it this far, let's just pause and take a breath. This is not easy stuff. It's the deepest, most challenging work of being human. If your life looks perfect on the outside, but you feel empty on the inside, I want to leave you with this final thought from Carl Jung. That feeling is not a curse. It is not a sign that you are broken or ungrateful or a failure. It is a summons. It is the call of your own deep, authentic self, which has been patiently waiting your entire life for you to finally come home. Your persona, your perfect life, is the mask you built to survive in the world. And it did its job. You should thank it. But it is not you. The emptiness is simply the space where the rest of you is supposed to be. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the gold mine. It holds your creativity, your passion, your vulnerability, your unlived life. It holds your wholeness. The journey of individuation, the journey to face your mask and integrate your shadow, is the only adventure that will ever truly satisfy you. It is the path to meaning. So don't run from the emptiness. Don't try to fill it with another purchase, another promotion, or another swipe. Turn toward it. Get curious about it. Ask it what it has to teach you. It is the doorway. The life you think you want is on the other side of the feelings you're trying to avoid. You're not empty. You're just beginning. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. This is obviously a huge, huge topic, and I'm so curious to hear your story. Go down to the comments and let me know what part of this video resonated with you the most. Have you ever felt this perfect life emptiness? And of course, if this conversation was valuable to you, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into psychology, purpose, and how to live an authentic life. It truly means the world to me and this community. Be kind to yourself. Be brave, and I'll see you in the next one.